Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Miller, and I'm the president of the Orange County chapter of APTA. And we have a couple of board members on our call today, Brenda Shine, Jeannie Wellington, and I'm expecting some more, but they're not quite on yet. Today, we are so thrilled to welcome Emily Johnson of Classic Portfolio. And in case, I'm going to ask Emily to introduce herself and also introduce us to Classic Portfolio and, of course, the main subject today, the Congo. So, Emily, take it away, please. Oh, and share your screen.
Absolutely. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me this evening. And it's great to see your faces and your names as well. And I'm happy to be joining you from Classic Portfolio. I'm their head of North American Trade Relations here in Virginia, so on the opposite coast of you. But I'm always available should you need anything, any information pertaining to our members, including the Congo Conservation Company. And Classic Portfolio, just a quick introduction. We represent a number of products throughout Southern and Eastern Africa, Western Africa as well. So we have 16 members that are within our Classic Portfolio umbrella, and they operate within 10 African countries and throughout 16 different protected regions. So we have quite a vast reach, and altogether it's around 62 camps and lodges. So there's quite a lot to cover. We'll be focusing on the Congo today, so the Republic of the Congo and the Central African Republic, and touching on those remarkable destinations because it is definitely on travelers' radars nowadays, and it's a new destination. And I'm proud to say that the Congo Conservation Company is the only operator within these destinations that are running a great tourism circuit at the moment. So I'll just share my screen so you can get a great sense as to what we'll be talking about today. All right, is everyone able to see here? All right,
yes.
Perfect. All right, so I'll start off with sort of introducing the Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic. So what we really love about the Congo is that it's so vastly different than other regions in Africa. So really, when you think you know Africa, the Congo has so much more left for you to discover. It's a really perspective-altering experience. It's an immersive experience, and it offers incredible wildlife viewing. So from gorillas to elephants to bongo, and a ton of different primates. The rainforest of the Congo really offers a journey of discovery unlike any other. So I'll just give you a little snapshot of what the Congo has to offer. I love videos.
Enter the glorious, untold story of Africa, where the forests reign supreme. This vast, unyielding wilderness of untouched magic is the beating heart of Africa. Awaken the explorer within you. Conquer the uninhabited. Uncover the mysteries of a bygone era. A place forgotten by time. And reflect on what it means to be truly human. This is a place to revel in the detail, to see perfection in the untouched, to awaken your every sense. Surrender yourself to nature. Here, you will find the incredible. In this, the place of plenty and infinite space. This is where the lifeblood of Africa flows. We invite you to explore like none before you. the sweeping, protected paradise. Let this breathtaking land ignite the fires within you. This is Unfiltered Africa, the realm of the pioneers. This is the Congo.
Now, if that does not get travelers excited for the possibility of discovery, I'm not quite sure what would. Let me just see if I can skip through this slide. Been stuck on it before here. There we go. So the Congo Conservation Company operates within the Republic of the Congo and then the Central African Republic, just here in the south. So only within these areas are they set forth and exploring. Now, I want you to take special note because I do understand that there is some stigma attached to the name Congo. And especially with North Americans, I think our education system has failed us greatly with not focusing more on African countries and just the politics within. But really, there is a major difference between the Republic of the Congo and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So the DRC is what holds the main portion of the stigma in terms of anytime someone associates the Congo with danger or rebel groups, militias, that sort of association. And it's just important to make clear that the Republic of the Congo is removed from that danger. And if you have a look at this map, it's a great way to sort of visualize how far removed it is. So where the Congo Conservation Company operates, you would fly into Brazzaville and then going up to Adzala Kakua National Park, and then up into the Central African Republic, into Ndoki area, and then Senga. And these areas, as you can see, are bordering Gabon and Cameroon, whereas which is about 1,000 miles as far as LA is to Wichita. I mean, it's quite far from the sort of hotspot areas in the DRC. Now, compared to Rwanda and Uganda's key wildlife areas and gorilla trekking areas, they are really quite close to the DRC. So if your clients ever raise the concern with the Congo, it's understandable completely, but just to being able to visualize the distance using a map, and then also just explaining that the Republic of the Congo is really quite a little gem, and it is very safe. So Brazzaville is a very vibrant city to arrive to, and Republic of the Congo was colonized by the French, so there's a big French influence in their culture. And it's a vibrant and beautiful city that is very safe. And you can catch a taxi, go out to restaurants, walk down the street. The CEO of Congo Conservation Camps, she actually goes jogging in the morning in Brazzaville at 5:30 a.m. And she has commented that she feels safer jogging in Brazzaville than she does in Cape Town, in the city. So, and I'm not trying to downplay the fact that every city has its dangers, and people must just be aware when they're traveling, but the stigma should not be attached to the Congo. And we joke that, if we could only rename the country, people wouldn't be so hesitant to travel there. But, the Republic of the Congo may need a rebrand, but for now we're stuck with the name, and we'll go with it, just educating travelers as to the safety and the warmness of the people and how welcoming they are. And another thing to point out as well is the population. So the Republic of the Congo has such a small population compared to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is about 89,000 or 89 million people, whereas the Republic of the Congo is a quarter of that. It's that. And the population is mainly focused around Brazzaville, Pointe Noire, and then some up in the west, northwest. So the areas in which travelers would visit, discovering the forest of the Congo is far removed away from people and danger, as it may be. So we have Odzala Discovery Camps in the Odzala-Kakula National Park, Sangha Eco Lodge, which is in the Sangha National Reserve. And between Odzala-Kakula National Park, first you would have Ngaga Camp. So this is the gorilla experience in Losi Gorilla Sanctuary. And then you have Mboko in Odzala-Kakula National Park, Lango Camp. And then you can also connect up to Sangha Lodge for an extended adventure. So that's usually the 10+ night itinerary. So just a bit about the Republic of the Congo. So this capital city is Brazzaville, and it is on the opposite side of the river from Kinshasa for the DRC. And these are actually the two closest capital cities in the world, but they are worlds apart in terms of just what they're like, the safety and the population and whatnot. So French is typically spoken throughout the Congo, and it is a former colony of France. And the physical size, it's a massive area. And in itself, the Congo Basin takes up about 500 million acres. It's the largest, or it's the world's second largest tropical rainforest. And the Congo Basin itself is larger than the state of Alaska. So it spans 6 different countries: Cameroon, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon. So the basin actively contributes to the well-being of all things on Earth. It's an incredibly important forest system, and it is so alive with life. And the forest really just keeps on giving as you journey through it. So together, the Republic of Congo is just a remarkable place to visit, and just keep in mind, it is a journey of discovery. So it's some place that is really great for if your clients have been to Africa multiple times, or if they've traveled throughout the world and they're looking for something new. It's considered the Amazon of Africa, and it's for those who really do have an adventurous heart. Now, the Central African Republic up in Sangha Tri-National Protected Area. So they speak French and Sango up in the Central African Republic, also a former colony of France. And both countries use the Central African franc. And it is encouraged to use that currency when you're traveling throughout the two countries. And there are exchange areas that you can use within the airport. As soon as you arrive in Brazzaville, it's super easy to exchange US dollars to the Central African franc. And both countries are home to the Western Lowland gorilla, and you can find them within Odzala-Kakula National Park, and that is managed by African Parks. Ndoki National Park is a new product that the Congo Conservation Company will be bringing online in the coming years. And then in the Central African Republic, Sangha protected areas are managed by the World Wildlife Fund. So to access this area, it's best to fly via Air France, straight through Paris to Brazzaville. It's a really easy connection. The only thing that I recommend is just leaving 2 hours between connecting flights, because of just processing, documents and whatnot. And the Paris airport can be quite busy. Just to give your clients, a relaxed feeling between flights, 2 hours connection time is a good idea. But getting down to Brazzaville, very easy. And what's wonderful about the Congo conservation camps, I like to compare it to Botswana, because that's an area that you have very likely planned safaris in. And you may be familiar with Desert and Delta safaris, and similar to them, the Congo Conservation Company owns and operates all of the camps within their circuit. They also own the airplane that they fly between the camps. They have the team on the ground in Brazzaville with their own vehicles. So essentially everything is handled by Congo Conservation Company from the start of your client's trip in Brazzaville to the end of their trip in Brazzaville. They don't outsource transfers or flights or anything else. There's no third party anywhere. Your clients are handheld by the Congo Conservation Company throughout their entire journey. So it's incredibly safe, easy for you to organize, working together with their reservations team. You can book directly. It's super easy. Kelby's based in Durban, and she's part of the Classic Portfolio team and is their key reservations agent. And she makes it super easy. She's great at answering even the, like most obscure questions, anything from getting visas to what vaccines are needed. She sends really comprehensive information, and it makes it easy for you to then, just pass along to your clients or save for future reference when you're chatting to your clients about it. And it's great information on hand. That's one thing I will say about this company, is that they have answered all the possible questions ahead of time. So it's easy to just shoot you the answer right away, and in a format that you can then pass along to your client. Great PDFs and information sheets, a super informative website that has a great frequently asked questions section that people can go and anything from, is there hot and cold running water? Yes, there is. Flushing loos, etc., to which documents are needed in order to enter the country. Everything is covered in between. All right, and then just to give you a little context, when you fly into Brazzaville, in order to access Adzala National Park, you would fly up on Congo Conservation's scheduled flights. They operate on Mondays and Thursdays. And the reason why they're only on Mondays and Thursdays is because of the length of the journeys, the typical journeys that take place. They have 7-night and then two 10-night journeys, and then a 12-night as well. And in order for this to be a sustainable operation, they just must pare down the flights as it can be a fruitful operation for them. And this is a great top tip. So the best way to sell the Congo Basin is through small group travel. And as I mentioned, Congo Conservation Company, I'll kind of go back a bit, but it's being supported massively by Sabine Plattner. She's the head philanthropist behind this project. And it sort of began as a love story between her and the Congo. She traveled there over 15 years ago and really just fell in love with the rainforest. And she had the means to then say, look, I want to support this and I want to protect this area and make sure that generations to come can enjoy this rainforest. It's so wild and wonderful. I want to be able to share this with future generations. So she has set up the Congo Conservation Company to support these African parks through travel. So this is truly a sustainable travel operation. Now, the flights, purchasing the plane, operating the flights, she contributes quite a bit of a supplement to each one of the flights in order just to get guests up to these camps. So that's why they run twice a week. And it is best, it's more sustainable when there are more than 4 guests on each flight. So the optimal number, if you can get a group of 8 together, that's the perfect sweet spot. The largest group that can go together is 12, but 8 is the real sweet spot. Of course, they will absolutely take couples, small groups of 4. That's absolutely possible. But, if you could plan a small group and come yourself, we would love to have you. But just come and discover it, and you'll never think twice about coming back. All right, so a bit about the national parks. So Abdallah-Kukua National Park. So it's about 1,360,000,000 hectares. And then the gorilla population, which is the most remarkable fact about Abdallah-Kukua National Park. So the Western lowland gorillas, they have around 22,000 in this region. Now, just keep in mind that they estimate there's only around 1,000 mountain gorillas left in the wild. So when you compare that in terms of the sighting possibilities, it's quite remarkable. So 22,000 Western lowland gorillas in Abdallah-Kukua National Park. And it is a fantastic up-close gorilla experience. Now, up into the Central African Republic, Senga Trinational Protected Area. So the gorilla population here is between 4,000 and 8,000 up in this region. And what's also interesting to note, between Congo conservation camps, the Odzala camps, and then up into Senga, what they do is to transfer guests, they fly from Mboko to Cabo Airstrip, which is actually in the Republic of Congo, same country as Odzala. And then what they do is they take the guests by boat up the river to Senga Lodge. You will pass through immigrations and 5 security checkpoints on the river. And that boat trip is done by Congo conservation camps, and you always have a staff member there with you and a guide on the boats, but it's a great 5-hour transfer on the boat. You see wonderful wildlife. There's very little human population on either side of the river, and it's just a fascinating sort of element of the journey between. So it's much safer for guests to come up the river rather than flying up into the northern part of the Central African Republic and then flying down. So it's closer geographically, and it just makes sense. Plus, it's a great part of the adventure. Now, to note about the seasons in the Congo, so we like to joke, the seasons are wet, wetter, and wettest. So this is the rainforest, but there are dry days, so don't fret. But it is part of the ecosystem, so it's an essential part. And to be honest, it is warm, it's humid, and the rain is welcome on certain days. It gives a little bit of respite to the heat. So, but just definitely, make sure that your clients know that it is the rainforest that they'll be visiting. So expect rain. Now, the best times to travel, I would say, in terms of very little rain and better temperatures, would be June through September. So, which is our peak season really for travel, which is great. That's when North Americans tend to travel anyhow. But aside from that, January through March, for if you have Canadian clients that are looking to travel in those key months and escape the cold, those are great months to travel as well. But on average, you can expect between 5 to 12 days per month of rain. June through September being the fewer days of rain per month, but it never rains every single day. But the rains are, I would say, hardest and more frequent in October through December. And then May are the lighter showers, or April through May, and then May later in the month is heavier rain as well. So, but clients will get wet during their journey, but it is all part of the fun, quite honestly. And the team on the ground is fabulous about making sure that everyone has dry clothes to set off on their journey the next day. They have a really great shoe drying method to make sure that boots are dry and everyone's nice and cozy and ready to set off the next day. So packing list, I can share this with you guys after the presentation, and all of this is on their website as well, but it's helpful to kind of abide by this. You are limited to 15 kilograms per person for the charter flight, and that is definitely doable because laundry is included in each of Congo Conservation Camp's lodges, so that they do laundry for you, no problem. And it's really wear your boots on the plane and then pack as you would for Botswana. And then just so you know, so border entry, guests are able to obtain a visa at the border. You would just have to let Congo Conservation Company know in advance that the clients will be obtaining the visa upon arrival. Otherwise, they can also obtain a visa in advance through the Congo Embassy. In the US, it's based in Washington, D.C. You mail in your passport and they send you back the passport with your visa in it. It's super simple and easy. A yellow fever vaccination is required in order to enter the Republic of the Congo. And then also they ask that you're vaccinated from COVID. And mainly that decision was made because travelers coming to the Congo are usually coming because of the gorilla experience. And above all else, they want to ensure that the gorilla population is, they're not taking risks, because there have been issues in the past where gorilla populations have suffered greatly from man to gorilla passing of diseases. So during gorilla treks, you also wear a mask, and that was the protocol before COVID. It will be the protocol forevermore. So keeping, the gorillas and the humans, that sort of separation is what is adhered to. So I'll send you this great chart as well. This helps you kind of see what the seasonal sightings are throughout the year at Congo conservation camps. And so throughout the year, you'll be able to see forest elephant, forest buffalo, bushbuck, putty-nosed monkeys, Columbus monkeys, western lowland gorillas, vultures, gray parrots, green pigeons. So great wildlife. There's a chance of seeing spotted hyena, Sitotongwa, which is a Botswana favorite, marsh mongoose, mustache monkey, and the great cheek monkey. They have actually 16 different primates within the national parks there. There's also a great chance of seeing the forest hog, Red River forest hog, and bongos, which are rare, but it is such a special sighting when you do see them. Pell's fishing owl as well, crowned monkeys, otters. It is just brimming with wildlife. So I'll just go in a bit about the Congo Conservation Company and their lodges. So they were really created, their mission is to inspire and enable guardians of the forest for generations to come. And the guardians being the guests that come and experience their camps and lodges and experience the journey that they've set forth, as well as their team of staff, their guides, and all the way up to the government officials. They work very closely with the Congolese government, and the Congolese government is invested in the Congo Conservation Company as being the only tourism operator in the Republic of the Congo, and ensuring that they have the support to encourage that pipeline of tourism coming in. So the best way to book the Congo is using one of the discovery packages from the Congo Conservation Company. So they have a 7-night Abzala discovery. So that's based on 3 nights Ngaga camp, which is your gorilla experience, 2 nights Lengo camp, which is your Bai experience, which I'll explain what a Bai is soon. And then 2 nights Mboko camp, which is your savannah camp. And then 10 nights Adzala discovery, so it's just increasing the number of nights. That gives you a little bit more time to explore. Another gorilla trek on the books, and I think this is a really fantastic itinerary. It really gives a great opportunity to truly get in deep into the Republic of the Congo and experience it fully. And then if your clients want to go a bit further, the 11-night Congo Basin discovery, so that would be based on the 7-night Adzala discovery plus 4 nights at Senga up in the Central African Republic. So what do they cost? So the 7-night Adzala discovery is from 12,795 RAC per person, and that is fully inclusive with the scheduled flights, everything from flying from Brazzaville up to Adzala and in between. So 2 gorilla tracking permits per person, all of your drinks, all of your meals, anything that you could want, laundry, etc., all activities, all included. So, you know, that breaks down to close to, I think, 1,600 plus per person per day. So that, you know, it is comparable in terms of cost with other destinations in Africa. I think sometimes this cost for some of these programs can be, I mean, can make somebody blink, but when you break it down to what it is actually costing and the fact that the gorilla tracking permits are included and the scheduled flights, it is definitely comparable with other destinations. So the 11-night Congo Basin discovery, it's a bit more. It takes the cost is added to get up into the Central African Republic, but it's fully inclusive to gorilla tracks in Adzala, and then 1 Zanga buy permit to see the gorillas as well. So the rates are completely fully inclusive. So within these 2 regions, the experiences mainly revolve around the Western lowland gorilla trekking. And they do use the term tracking instead of trekking, because trekking is a term that's used in East Africa quite often between Uganda and Rwanda. But the area in which you set off for a trek within the Congo is flat land. So there's very little elevation, and there's a lot of pros to that. So you're not actually trekking up a mountain or trekking in the mountains. It is flat land through the rainforest. And there's a lot of advantages to that. And I think that it's fantastic that you're able to skip a lot of the sort of red tape that you have to go through in East Africa. So it's a more personal experience. The team sits down with you the evening before you go on your gorilla trek, and they'll do the briefing the night before, and oftentimes you'll have a researcher there that will be setting off on the adventure with you. It's limited to 4 people per group on the tracks, and to see a family of gorillas. And you can leave right from the back of the lodge. You just walk straight out the back of the lodge into the forest, and often come across a family of gorillas within 20 minutes of walking. Sometimes if the gorillas have moved off a bit further, then you may take a 15-minute drive in the open 4x4 vehicle to then just walk from the vehicle. So there's no headquarters check-in, there's no early rise to then go wait in line, etc. It's a very personalized experience. And the gorilla treks that are done in these regions are only done by the Congo Conservation Company's guests. So they're managing all of the permits, they manage the briefings, everything. So it's no third parties involved, which is quite nice. Other experiences include the visits to Mbambo village, guided rainforest and night walks, boating, kayaking, wading through the streams, the rivers, the swamps, swimming, bird watching, and then exploring the bais. You just immerse yourself in the rainforest. And then access, I touched on that a bit. The flights to Brazzaville, they arrive to Mai Mai Airport where they're met and assisted by the Odzala team. And then the flights up to Mboko are a 2-hour flight, and it's every Monday and Thursday. And there's the plane there that gets the guest up to Mboko. And I just have to look here quickly what the name of the plane is, because it's such a fabulous name. What do they call her? Olivia. This is Olivia. They've named their plane. I think it's quite charming. So Olivia is part of the team, and it's also pretty interesting to note most of the Congo Conservation Company's team are female. So Olivia fits right in. So this was a 20-seater plane, and they converted it to 14 seats. So they're able to fly fresh veg and fruits and all the wine that's needed for the trip up with as cargo. So it makes room, and they're able to transfer team as well. So it's a really fantastic flight, 2 hours, very scenic. And then you land at Mboko and then go on to Ngaga first, typically. So Ngaga is the gorilla rainforest experience. So they have 6 raised rooms with wraparound walkways. And just keep in mind, I mean, the design of these camps are very true to the region, and Odzala discovery camps were actually initially established by wilderness safaris about 15 years ago when they were built initially. They've all been refurbished in the last 3 years, and when they were adopted by Odzala Congo Conservation Company, and they have, I mean, you can tell a bit that they've got the wilderness touch to them, but they're very comfortable, plenty of space, and all of the ensuite amenities. And then Mboko Camp is your savanna experience. So wide open plains, tall termite mounds, great game viewing right close to the river. And they have 6 canvas cabins. And then Lengo Camp is your experience. And that's 6 raised rooms with wraparound walkways. And so the max number of guests that you will have at any camp at any given time is 12. Each one of the rooms throughout all 3 camps can only sleep 2 people. And just keep in mind, children from the age of 16 and up are welcome. And that reason being is that you must be 16 and up to do the gorilla experience. And typically no one would travel there and leave that experience off. So this is a great sort of adults only experience in the Congo. And it's not really a child-friendly destination just because of the amount of activity that's involved. And also keep that in mind for anyone that has any sort of walking or mobility issues. It's not an ideal location for them to visit as well, because typically you have to have, I would say, just a general, healthy amount of activity in your life in order to be able to keep up. You don't have to be an Ironman or a marathoner, but typically with the mobility issues, where it becomes a sticking problem is when you do the river walks and just navigating through the forest as well. There are vines and tree sort of roots that you have to navigate over. So it's best done. It's best to skip that if there's any mobility issues at hand. And here's just a bit of a video here for Ngaga. So you can see there, it is well embedded in the forest. And this is the camp that you walk straight off the deck and can go see gorillas on your trek. And sometimes they come quite close up to the camp. And the gorilla population there, they're quite arboreal. So it's a bit different than the west or the mountain gorillas. You'll often see them up in the trees. They're very active and they move quite a bit. So you may go out on your trek, find the gorilla family, spend 45 minutes with them. Then they may get bored and move on a little bit more, and then you'll catch up with them again. So it's really a tracking experience, which is fantastic. And then here we have Mboko Camp. So Mboko Camp is right on the edge of the river, and that means you get to explore by kayak. You can swim in the river, float in the river, and then also what is really fantastic is going between Mboko and Lango is quite an adventure in itself. So it's about a 2.5-hour kayak, and you take the river down between Mboko and Lango, and you're floating with the current, and really all you have to do is keep your kayak straight. So it doesn't require any sort of advanced skill for kayaking, but it's an extremely serene way to explore the forest. And then you pull up at the Bai and you walk about 20 minutes up through the Bai to Lango Camp. And this Bai is, it's not quite like a water hole because there's water everywhere in a rainforest, but it's similar to a salt lake like you would find in East Africa or throughout other safari destinations. But a Bai is a clearing in a rainforest that is a huge mineral deposit. So that being straight in front of Lango Camp, it pulls the animals, the wildlife in like a magnet. It's really incredible. So you can be sitting there on the deck, huge herds of forest elephant coming across. You can see bongo, the forest buffalo, and it's really fantastic. It's great in-camp game viewing, but they also get the migrational African gray parrots and the green parrots as well, and it makes for huge flocks of birds fluttering right in front of camp, which is fantastic. Here's a little preview of Lango Camp. All right, and there's here a better look at Lango Camp. And there's those African gray parrots and green parrots, and those are highly sought after by birders. And then Senga Lodge, which is run by Rod Cassidy. And as I mentioned, you would fly up to Cabo and then take a approximately 4 to 5 hour boat ride up to Senga Lodge. And so this is a fantastic area as well. There's Suzanne on the right taking that boat ride. And so you have a really great glimpse into the culture, the Pangolin Project. They run a rescue for forest pangolins from Senga Lodge, and this is considered Valley of the Giants. I mean, it's a remarkable location, and you may recognize it from the documentary Planet Earth they have a scene where this is shown. And I remember seeing it for the first time and not recognizing the location as before I worked for Classic Portfolio, but I just was so struck by the just stunning beauty of all of these elephants all in one place in this giant forest. So the 10-night Senga discovery, that's going to be just above 17,000 per person. And then there also is an 11-night option as well. And then the group booking incentives. So if you have a group of 4% or 4, then you get 25% STO, group of 8, 30%, group of 12, 32%. So it's a really great savings and higher commissions for you as well. So I'll skip through in the pipeline. We can catch you up on that as it develops. And I know we're getting close to question time. And I just want to share this remarkable photo with you. I mean, it is such an amazing shot of a Western lowland gorilla there in the Bai. And because, you know, you often see pictures of mountain gorillas, and mountain gorillas inherently just avoid water at all costs. They actually get most of their water intake from the plants and leaves that they eat. They won't even cross a river or a stream. They avoid it at all costs. And the Western lowland gorillas, of course, they're surrounded by water in the rainforest. And it's such a remarkable special sighting to see a Western lowland gorilla in water like this. All right, and then also, because you participated and listened in and I hope you enjoyed the chat. But so the Congo Conservation Company is providing a voucher for 1 complimentary gorilla trek for 2 people in Zalagakua National Park in the Republic of Congo for 1 lucky winner. And that is valid now through 2024. So you can plan your excursion. And even better yet, if you bring a group, that would be fantastic as well. So I will share some comprehensive follow-up information with you as well. And also some sample itineraries. So those, the 7-night, the 10-night, 2 10-night options. I'll send you great PDF sample itineraries you can review, and then an invitation just to go through the Congo Conservation Company's website, some links that will take you straight through to really fantastic information that will help sort of deepen your knowledge of the Congo. And yeah, we can, does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much. I was just going to look at the chat and see if there were some questions in there. And Kay actually said something that I was thinking too, that those maps were really wonderful because it really brought to light, you know, where everything was. And I thought the same thing. The DRC was the safest one, but it's the other way around. So thank you so much for that clarification. Also, Kay wanted to know if there's Sherpas or guides to help you carry your backpack, etc., on your trekking experience.
Absolutely. There's always someone to help, always a helping hand. And if ever anything is needed, they'll accommodate in any way possible. They'll never make you carry something you cannot. So that's absolutely always possible. In terms of your backpack, what you want to walk with during the excursions, you really only need, I would say, bug spray, water, some snacks if you want your own snacks to carry, and maybe some, you know, like a small towel, just if you want to pat yourself off or whatever it may be. But you don't have to carry much, and you're always going back to the same location. And then in terms of the kayak trip between Mboko and Lengo. So there's a vehicle that actually takes your luggage around. So you're not responsible for schlepping anything over to the in-between camps. And that's actually, if you're just doing the Odzala discovery, that would be how you come back. So instead of kayaking against the current, they would take you by vehicle around instead on the way back to Mboko to fly out.
Emily, you didn't mention, I don't think, anything about malaria. Is there malaria there? Should
Yes.
beyond medicine?
Yeah, so there is malaria in Brazzaville mainly because of the low population of people up in Odzala and Senga. Not much malaria up there, but it is recommended anti-malaria medication be taken throughout the trip.
Okay. Marjorie is asking, what is the visa process? Can you do it online?
You cannot do it online, but you can do it on arrival, or it is recommended to do it in advance. But either way, the visa is a little bit more expensive than most, but it's $200 per person.
Wow.
And it is, and then it can be arranged either in advance or on arrival.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm looking down here. I don't see any in the chat. You can just come off mute and ask Emily directly.
Yes, and Kay, I can send the chart for the incentive for groups as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Yeah.
are you planning any FAMs anytime soon?
Well, I think our team is going out to the Congo because I actually personally haven't been yet, but this is the product that I'm most excited about exploring. After I would say 45 plus trips to Africa, the Congo has always intrigued me, and I cannot wait to get there in October. But we will be having a Classic Portfolio will be hosting a workshop in Cape Town in September, and we're planning FAM trips on either end of it, so pre and post. And we will likely be including Congo in that within the offering. Also Zambia and Legendary Expeditions in Chemchem will be part of our FAM offering, and also our various products throughout South Africa as well. We've got Leclerc and Franschhoek, Tandatula has great, exciting things happening right now in the Timbavati, and then up in Pafuri, that great area that's sort of undiscovered by most travelers up in the northern Kruger area. It's one of my new favorites. And then Kwandwe as well, I highly recommend. It's also one of my very favorites. But we'll be offering FAM trips throughout there as well. And I will let everyone know, we'll send out newsletters. Make sure that you're on our mailing list. If you go on Classic Portfolio, it's classic-portfolio.com. You'll see an area to sign up for agent news. It's a great resource. Suzanne writes these fantastic emails. They're called Think. And it really is inspiring information that comes out once weekly. And if you only knew this sort of, I guess, scramble to get like the idea, the concept, everything behind the newsletter that happens within our team, it's so fascinating. She's brilliant, and she just comes up with amazing news to share, and it's really inspiring. And then she draws from each one of us on the team. We have 18 on the team, all women except for one poor guy, Anton. He's well outnumbered, but he has a good sense of humor about it. But together we all sort of draw our ideas together, and then she puts her input and she writes it, and it's fantastic news, updates from trade shows, her take on things, trends that are happening in the marketplace, and then just what she thinks is the next up and coming destination or how to sell things. And it's always inspiring. It really is.
Well, I think your presentation was excellent because, like Angela said, I always thought, it was just the opposite of what you said about, which one was safer. And I've always wanted to go see the Western lowland gorillas. And I thought about Gabon at one time, but of course they don't really have the infrastructure for tourists. So, and I wanted to go to the Congo because I know many people from Tanzania go to the Congo, but, I was always scared because of everything that you've heard. So this was really, really a great presentation. So thank you very much. And I'm going to look forward to trying to get some of my Tanzania clients to go.
You're welcome, Kay. And look, tell everyone that the Republic of the Congo is not the bad one.
I will.
It's almost like they're two sisters and one kind of fell off the wagon and not doing so well. But it's just it's terrible that it gets such a bad name because there's just a stigma attached to it, and it's all about addressing that and putting your clients' fears at ease. And you know, if it comes down to, if you have a client that really wants to go, are still hesitant and wants to sort of like, if you want me to hop on a call to just chat about the destination, about the experiences, I'm happy to do that. I've had a couple agents ask me, even one from the UK. I spoke with a lady in the UK about Zambia, and just hearing another point of view that's not trying to sell them anything was enough to then she felt comfortable. And I think sometimes just another point of view also helps.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree. That's a great, that's a really good option. By the way, so Emily, getting to Brazzaville, what, if someone is just simply going straight to the Congo for these trips, what airline, do you have to go through South Africa? Can you?
So Air France through Paris is the best option.
Oh, okay.
It connects really well from the West Coast as well. Air France is best. I would say Ethiopian Airlines is a great alternative through Addis. It connects down to Brazzaville as well. And then you can also fly, if you're doing sort of a connected adventure, including the Congo in the beginning or at the end, you can fly through Johannesburg on Ethiopian Airlines to Brazzaville as well. And then they also fly from Brazzaville to Kigali. So if you had somebody that was really interested in gorillas and wanted to do 2 gorilla safaris, then they can connect those 2 gorilla experience as well.
Okay, that's great. Well, if there's no more questions, first of all, let's thank Emily very, very much for a superb presentation. We really appreciate it. We are going to be, oh, let's see, 1%, okay.
Angela,
Yeah,
I'd just like to put my 2 cents in and say thank you so much, Emily. It's been a pleasure. Your presentation was fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Happy to connect with you all.